Yo! Man, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy Daffy, and we are back with some more Jujutsu Kaisen. Yes, my brothers and sisters, we are back with some more chapter discussions. And this gotta be one of the juiciest chapters since chapter 236. I might say, I'm not even gonna say it, that's a fact. This right here is without argument the most juicy chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen we have gotten in the past year, right? And I mean that with every single fiber of my being. So peep game, I'm not even gonna have a super long intro or anything like that, but make sure you are subscribed and you turn notifications on for your boy. That helps me out, and leave a like, I appreciate it. But without further ado, man, let's get right into it. On the very first page of this chapter, we begin with a small flashback of Sukuna talking to Arame, and they're kind of talking, and Arame's kind of asking some questions about Yuji, and Arame's like, hey, yo, who even is this, like, Yuji kid? Why do we care? Like, he still had a pretty good amount of energy and potential that he was showing even after you came out of his body. And Sukuna drops the lore reveal that he actually ate his twin brother when he was inside of his mother's womb as to not starve to death. And that dead twin soul ended up in Kenjaku's hand, which led to the creation of Yuji Itadori. Now, for those that know, there have been several theories floating around in the Jujutsu Kaisen space where people were saying that, oh, Sukuna might have ate his brother in the womb and Yuji could have been his descendant. And that actually ended up being true. But there is one piece of the puzzle that I still think that we're missing here. Why does Yuji's grandfather still look so similar to Sukuna? There's still something there's something missing there, right? Because we have that panel, I posted it before, where people take comparison of Sukuna, Yuji, and Yuji's grandfather, and they look like they're at different stages in life. Yuji looks like a young teenager. Sukuna looks like he is in like a mid 30s to early-ish 40s. And then we have Wasuke, I believe is his name, is Yuji's grandfather's name. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering everywhere. This is fresh information, hot off the press. And then we have Yuji's grandfather, who looks like a older version, and so it looks like it's someone's complete life stage. So where does Yuji's grandfather fall into all this? I'm very curious, because he still has the grayish hair. I don't know if it's pink as well. I need to double check that. But wow. So we have more insight as to what Yuji is. I have been starving for more Yuji background, and I'm so glad we're getting some more. Now, Urame actually ends up wondering if Yuji has the same innate potential as Sukuna, but that can mean different things. But we'll get into it. There's a lot of stuff that's still coming at this chapter. Hold on, we'll talk about it. So then we have obviously Sukuna and Yuji squaring up, hitting that brain pose one more time. Y'all know I love that. You know what I mean? I love when Jujutsu Kaisen characters square off. This is one of my favorite things about the Jujutsu Kaisen manga. When it comes to the fights and the choreography, I love Gege's work here, because when we directly compare it to My Hero Academia, each action in My Hero Academia has a monologue or a speech attached to it, and that's perfectly fine. That's how that manga works. But as far as the actual choreography in My Hero Academia goes, it's not all that great compared to Jujutsu Kaisen. So we have instances like this where we very clearly see the hands being thrown. It's very clear. I like that. I love it, right? And so then we have Yuji hitting his second Black Flash on Sukuna here. And Yuji diverts one of Sukuna's hands. Boom! A third Black Flash on Sukuna here. Man. Buddy, there's a lot of action in this chapter, but we got some stuff to still talk about. No, don't worry. We'll get there. And as Yuji ends up getting pushed back onto a pillar, he slices it and sends it towards Sukuna, and the narrator explains that Yuji currently has two cursed techniques inside of him. He has blood manipulation and Sukuna's Mizushi, or shrine. So at the moment, Yuji now has, I believe, cleave. I don't think he has dismantle. I believe he has cleave, because from what we see, Yuji's not sending out slashes. He has to physically grab the object to be able to do it, because he's still so fresh. He's still so new at it. So, people have been spamming this for the past hour, however long, but Gojo said, I believe around chapter 3 to chapter 4, that Yuji would be able to gain Sukuna's techniques as they will be carved into his body. But I don't think that no one knew that it was going to be to this effect. It's interesting here because we actually get this little outline. It looks like scissors being cut, kind of like a copy and paste tool. And we can see that for Yuji, this is how he visualizes his technique. I don't think this is just a thing for the reader. I believe that this is actually happening in the world of Jujutsu Kaisen as well. So very cool. Very, very, very cool. Lots to discuss here, man. Lots to discuss here. We'll get to it, but I want to clear this action first. So then we have Yuji trying to get a hold of Sukuna's leg, and unfortunately, Sukuna ends up shaking him off. But Yuji manages to gain his footing back and hits him with yet another. I can't yell because I have guests in my house. With another black flash. Now Sukuna at this point realizes that yes, while Yuji does have his same technique, there's some differences due to the era of Sukuna having much more experience with it, and then there's representation. So Sukuna's looks different as opposed to Yuji's, which is why Yuji has like the little scissors in the paper. It's still it's almost childlike, right? And Sukuna even thinks that, oh, this is absolutely ludicrous. This is ridiculous, but the output is so low because Yuji is still not used to it. And we got a small little flashback from Ino as well, talking about how he is he okay to use Nanami's weapon, and he asks Gojo and Shoko if it's all right, and they're like, oh man, you're good. He trusts you more than anybody. And my boy, listen, the shiesty sorcerer, you put in some work. Listen, your boy, listen. I gotta give this man Ino props because he knows the role that he is in, and he's not trying to be like on the front line and trying to do a whole bunch of extra stuff, but he's slowly trying to help with the breakdown of Sukuna, right? And so he's getting in, getting a couple hits in, getting out, getting in. He's very much playing a support role. Any gaps or any weaknesses that he can find or anything to buy some people some more time, he's using that to his advantage, and his reverse curse technique is coming in clutch for himself as well. And so we actually see Ino summon the dragon, which we have not seen before. That's apparently his strongest summon that he has, but unfortunately Sukuna does away with it pretty quickly. But then Yuji gets behind him and hits him with the, come on bro, he hits him with another black flash, and Sukuna actually starts getting he starts getting pressed, right? And Sukuna's like, bro, like this is getting out of hand, right? And so then he starts like box with Yuji for just a second here, right? And then Yuji's monstrous strength is still just keeping up, and Yuji ends up slamming him into the wall once again. Oh my God, bro, Yuji hits another black flat. Bro, I wish I could yell, I wish I could scream, because I need y'all to understand how hype I am. I have been on the Yuji Itadori train for the past 3.5 years since I've been reading / watching Jujutsu Kaisen. So when I finally see my nephew get the flowers he deserves, and he finally starts to earn that MC status to everyone that doubted him, when we start having those apology forms getting filled out, this is what I live for, bro. This is what I adore. I don't care that not a lot of people think that Jujutsu Kaisen's all that deep, but to an extent it's not. But I know people think the power system sucks and all this different stuff. I love this series unabashedly. I don't care. You can argue with the wall. I do not care. And then we actually have a really cool panel where Sukuna actually tries to grab Yuji's face, and half of his face is cut up, and he's still going towards Sukuna, which is kind of a mirror, because we have that half of Yuji's face is disfigured from all the blood and everything like that. And then the next panel is Sukuna's face, where we have half of the eyes and all that. Very cool. Very, very cool parallel. They look very similar here. And Yuji hits Sukuna with Sukuna gets hit with another black flash from Yuji here, and Sukuna actually gets pressed. He starts hitting the enemy. He starts hitting that cell. He starts screaming, just at Yuji, just you know what I mean. He starts screaming at Yuji, and actually his focus is thrown off from Yuji by Ino, throwing Nanami's cleave at him, and Yuji takes his hand, brings it from the pits of Tartarus and Beelzebub's palace, hits him with the Kokusang, just right up in that gut, just oh my God, bro, y'all need to understand how hype I am, bro. Bro, I have been itching for a chapter like this, and Yuji at this point has hit Ryomen Sukuna with not 1, not 2, not 3, ladies and gentlemen, not even 4, not even 5, but 8 consecutive black flashes, breaking the world record in the world of Jujutsu. Man, oh man, oh man. And lots to discuss here, man. So let's go ahead and let's get down to this breakdown real quick. So we gotta talk about why Sukuna hates Yuji so much. And for a while, yes, it was because obviously people thought that, okay, it was because Yuji was one of the only people that can actually contain him. He wants to be free. He doesn't want Yuji to be the only person that actually can do something to hinder him in some sense. He knows Yuji can beat him in a fight, but he's like, okay, well, this kid can contain me and my power, so I'm going to do whatever I can to mess with him. But actually, it's deeper than that. So what I believe why Sukuna is so irritated and wants to break Yuji down all the time is because there are two things. Number one is that Yuji depends on the people around him, right? Yuji, this is a team effort. This entire fight, this is a team effort to break Sukuna down as much as they can. Again, Gojo did about, let's say, 60 to 65% of the legwork in reducing Sukuna's power. And we have all these different people taking things from him, trying to do what they can. And so Yuji knows he can't do this alone. And that's one of the biggest things that Sukuna hates, is that he hates people that rely on others. That's why he told Jogo, he said, you should have burned everything around you to the ground and you should have brought yourself up from the ashes. You should have made yourself strong enough to disregard anything around you. That's what he told Jogo. He said, you could have been as strong as me. You could have been as strong as Gojo. You could have been as strong as anyone around you. And that's where you messed up. Look at his fight with Kashimo. He has that whole line of dialogue. He has this whole breakdown in this conversation with Kashimo where he's talking about people love us for our strength and all this, but for someone like us, love isn't necessary. We're the only people that we need to be able to depend on to survive in this world. Others' affection and all and kindness and all that, it's superficial. There's nothing deeper than that. We don't need that. The only person that we need to be able to satisfy is ourselves. And this is inherently the opposite of how Yuji thinks, because in chapter 1, his grandfather said, make sure that your death is peaceful and you save as many people as possible and you die with plenty of people to mourn your death. For Sukuna, he could die by himself and he could have literally only Urame around him and he wouldn't really care. He'd be like, oh, I died? Well, I lost. Well, I don't think he's gonna do it like that. But the mindset is totally different, and I think it's actually twofold, because when Sukuna ate his brother in the womb, how he remembered that memory, I have absolutely no idea, but I would assume that if you go as far as to eat your sibling in the womb, it's going to release some trauma that you probably recognize. When he ate his brother in the womb, it's almost like, you should have been the one to eat me. You didn't want to live so bad. You had every opportunity to eat me, but you didn't. I took it upon you. So you're inherently weaker than I am. So I think that's also part of a reason why he thinks that Yuji is so much more inferior to him. It's because he looks at him, he sees his brother, and he's just like, you had every opportunity I did. You were born at the exact same time, and you could have chosen to survive, but you didn't. I took that. You didn't take that opportunity. I think that's probably the second reason why Sukuna doesn't like Yuji. And also, we will look at Sukuna's design. People had theorized that, oh, well, Sukuna has like 2 more pairs of eyes and another pair of eyes and another pair of arms. So he must have been a conjoined twin or something like that, which I think is true in this case. But man, where does this put Yuji? Dude, I literally put that how strong is manga Yuji video like 2 weeks ago. I gotta scrub that. I'm gonna keep it up, obviously. But that got outdated so fast. Wow, bro. I know Kenjaku is looking up from the deepest, darkest pit of hell, just laughing his ass off at this. Absolutely geek. That's something that he made is this strong and this lethal. Man, wow. Do I think that Yuji's gonna have a domain expansion? I mean, I don't know. I probably, but this is a unforeseen development. Now, people were memeing that, saying that Yuji would have cleave and all that good stuff. But I'm so glad we don't have a break next week, man. I really am. I'm very curious to see what next chapter is gonna look like, because I've been waiting for the Sakari versus Urame fight for a good little bit now. But I'm curious to see how Megumi is going to be properly exercised, and if Sukuna is going to end up being like something similar to like maybe like the dwarf in the flask or something, where he's like a own separate entity that like Yuji has to fight or something like that, and he just looks like absolutely horrific. But I don't know. And where does this leave Kenjaku? Where does it, I've seen some theories floating around that Kenjaku may have been the mother that birthed Sukuna. I don't necessarily like that. And I will say that the fact that Yuji is Sukuna's conjoined twin, it's like he's the reincarnation of I typically don't like reincarnation in these kinds of stories, man. Even like Ashura and Indra in Naruto, and even in like Bleach with the Quincy and the Hollow stuff with Ichigo, I don't really necessarily love that. It feels very prodigal son-ish. But with Yuji here, I do enjoy it, and I do hope that we get to see some flashbacks of him actually training and understanding this stuff and kind of like understanding his purpose. I don't necessarily know if we'll get to see a flashback of him directly being like, this is what I am, because he hasn't said that yet. He hasn't like stated like to, or like said to anyone like I believe I think I'm a mutation. I think that I have some relation to Sukuna or something. But man, that's so interesting, and I want to do some rereads and look at some of these other panels that we've seen. If there's like that one panel of Yuji and Sukuna with their hands on each other's necks, people thought that's because they were just inherently enemies, but they're actually twins. They're actually related to each other. So that Itadori family tree is all sorts of gummed up, bro. I mean, you got who's Yuji's siblings at this point? You have Sukuna, you have Choso, you have Iso, Kechizu, the other death painting moves, bro. that Ancestry.com about to go crazy. You dig what I'm saying? But man, oh man. So is Yuji top 10 in the verse? No, yeah, probably. He just needs a domain expansion. He just needs a simple domain, a barrier technique, something, hollow wicker basket, I don't know, and then he'll get in like that top 5 range. But this is wild. Now the editor says that Yuji has surpassed Sukuna. I'm gonna be honest with you, I feel like something really bad is gonna happen next chapter, especially because Sukuna is starting to get irritated, and we know that obviously he hasn't gone all out yet, blah 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 blah. We still have that to worry about, but I am very, very curious to see what's gonna happen next chapter, man. And what other techniques is Yuji going to be able to do? Because this Mizushi, sorry, I need to pull up the translation in front of me again. But that seems to be, I feel like there's some other stuff attached to that besides Cleave. So we will see, man. But man, wow, a lot of good stuff in this chapter, man. I've been ranting and raving for so long at this point. I apologize. But yeah, it's pretty boy Daffy, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this video. Let me know what you think about this current Jujutsu Kaisen chapter. You guys love it? You guys hate it? What do you guys think is going to happen moving forward with Jujutsu Kaisen at this point? But man, oh man, oh man, cannot wait for more. It's me, boy Daffy, guys. I will see you guys in the next video, and y'all make sure you have a good one. Take care of yourselves, guys, and I just said that twice. Bye.